will continue in this lecture with mathematical models of physical system. So first we'll see what is a physical system. It is a collection of physical objects connected together to serve an objective. The examples we can have for physical systems, it may be cited from laboratory, industrial plant or utility services. We can have an electronic amplifier composed of many components, the governing mechanism of a steam turbine, or a communication satellite orbiting the earth. These all are examples of physical system. So we'll see what is a general term system. General term system is used to describe a combination of components which may not all be physical, which is a more general term. That is, for example, biological, economic, socio-economic or management systems. Okay, we can say that whatever our physical system, no physical system can be represented in its full physical indices, and therefore idealizing assumptions are always made for the purpose of analysis and synthesis of system. Now we'll see what is a physical model. A physical system which is idealized is called a physical model. A physical system can be modeled in a number of ways depending upon the specific problem to be dealt with and the desired accuracy. Again, we'll take the example of electronic amplifier. It can be modeled as an interconnection of linear lumped elements, or some of these may be pictured as nonlinear elements in case the stress is on distortion analysis. A communication satellite may be modeled as a point, a rigid body, or a flexible body depending upon the type of study to be carried out. So, whatever are these idealizing assumptions, they are gradually removed for obtaining a more accurate model. Then a point of diminishing return is reached. That is, the gain in accuracy of representation is not commensurate with the increased complexity of the computation required. So we can say, in fact, beyond a certain point, there may indeed be an undetermined loss in accuracy of representation due to flow of errors in the complex computations. So, whatever is a physical model of a physical system is obtained once, then what we have to do next step is to obtain a mathematical model. This mathematical model is the mathematical representation of the physical model through an appropriate physical laws. Then, depending upon the choice of variables and the coordinate system, a given physical model may lead to different mathematical models. Now, if we take a network as an example, it may be modeled as a set of nodal equations using KCL or a set of mesh equations using KVL. So, a control system may be modeled as a scalar differential equation describing the system or state variable vector matrix differential equation. So, this particular mathematical model, which is going to give an greater insight into the dynamic behavior of physical system, is selected. So I told it, for example, the network. So the mathematical model of a physical system is solved for various input conditions. Okay, various input conditions. The result represents the dynamic response of the system. The mathematical model of a system is linear if it obeys the principle of superposition and homogeneity. So, what does this principle implies that if a system model has response y1 of t and y2 of t to any two inputs x1 of t and x2 of t respectively, then the system responds to the linear combination of these inputs alpha 1 x1 t plus alpha 2 x1 t is given by the linear combination of the individual outputs, that is alpha 1 y1 t plus alpha 2 y2 t, where alpha 1 alpha 2 are constants. Then whatever is the mathematical models of those physical system, they are characterized by differential equations. So a mathematical model is linear if the differential equation which is describing the mathematical model has coefficients which are either functions of the independent variable or are constants, then that mathematical model is called as linear time varying if the coefficients of the describing differential equations are functions of time where time is independent variable. Okay, so the model is linear time invariant if the coefficients of the describing differential equations are constant. Okay, then whatever is a differential equation that is describing a linear time invariant system, it can be reshaped into different forms for the convenience of analysis. The example is the transient response or frequency response analysis of single input, single output linear system. The transfer function representation forms a useful model. Then if the system is with multiple input and output, the vector matrix notation may be more convenient. So the mathematical model of a system having been obtained, the available mathematical tools can then be utilized for analysis or synthesis of the system. The most powerful mathematical tool like Fourier and Laplace transforms are available for using linear system. So no physical system in nature is perfectly linear, which is unfortunate. So there is a need to have certain assumptions which must always be made to get a linear model, which is, as pointed earlier, is a compromise between the simplicity of the mathematical model and the accuracy of results obtained from it. So it may not always be possible to obtain a valid linear model, because we'll take an example. In the presence of a strong nonlinearity or in the presence of distributive effects, then it cannot be represented by lump parameter. So the most commonly adopted approach for handling a new problem is first build the physical model of the system as interconnection of idealized system elements and describe them these in form of elemental laws. Elemental laws. Now we'll see what are these idealizing elements. Idealizing elements are sort of building blocks of the system. So is it clear? We'll be discussing about differential equations of physical system. So the so I have told you, for differential equation of physical system, okay, is by utilizing the physical laws of the process. Okay, then depending upon the system, well-known physical laws like Newton's laws, Kirchhoff's law, etc. will be used to build a mathematical model. Okay, the first step is to build the physical model of the system, that too as interconnection of idealized system elements, and then describe them in form of elemental laws. These idealized elements are sort of building blocks of the system. An ideal element results by making two basic assumptions. One, the first assumption is spatial distribution of the element is ignored and it is regarded as a point phenomena. So in case of mass which has physical dimension, it is considered concentrated at a point, and temperature in a room which is distributed out into the whole room space is replaced by representative temperature as if of a single point in the room. Okay, so this process of ignoring the spatial dependence by choosing a representative value is called lumping, and the corresponding modeling is called lumped parameter modeling, which we can distinguish from distributed parameter modeling, which accounts for space distribution. Okay, the distributed parameter modeling accounts for space. Okay, second one, the second assumption is that the variables associated with the elements lie in the range that the element can be described by simple linear law of one, a constant of proportionality, second, a first order derivative, or third, a first order integration. Any of these can be utilized. The last two forms, that is first order derivative and first order integration, they are in fact alternatives and they can be interconverted by single differentiation or integration. Okay, integration. So to start with, we shall consider ideal elements which have a single port or two terminal representation and so have two variables associated with it, which has been shown in this figure. These variables are identified as one, through variable Vt. You can see here Vt, no? You can see here Va. This is Vt, this is Va, or across variable. Okay, two variables are one through variable Vt, which sort of passes through the element and has the same value in at one port and out at the other. So this through variable will have same value in at one port and out at the other. The example is current through an electrical resistance. Next, second one is across variable Va. This across variable Va appears across the two terminals of the element. So you can see here Va, it appears across the two terminals of the element. The example is voltage across an electrical resistance. There is another classification of the element variable is one, input variable, which is also known as independent variable Vi. First one is input variable or independent variable Vi. Second, output variable or dependent, which is response variable V0. So the Vi could be Vt or Va, and corresponding V0 would be Va or Vt. Then that element is then represented in block diagram form, which is cause effect form. which has been shown in figure here, where the signal Vi flows into the block and flows out of it V0, which is suitably modified by the law represented by the block. Okay, so you can see here Vi, you can see here V0, then which is modified by the block represented by this block. Okay, elemental law, you can see here elemental law. Okay, yes. Next we'll see about mechanical system. So mechanical systems and devices can be modeled by means of three ideal translatory and three ideal rotary elements. So in case of mass or inertia elements, one terminal is always the inertial reference frame with respect to which a free terminal moves or rotates is one important note. So this table is going to give the variables of mechanical elements, the through and across variables for ideal mechanical elements. Okay, which are translational elements. Through variable is force F, and which is in Newton, K is equal to kgm per second square. Integrated through variable is translational momentum, which is given by P is equal to integration minus infinity to T f of dt. Across variable is velocity difference, V is equal to V1 minus V2 meters per second. Integrated across variable displacement difference, x is equal to x1 minus x2 in meters. Next we will see rotational element, torque T, which is Newton meter. Integrated through variable is angular momentum, h equal to integration minus infinity to t dt. Then across variable is angular velocity difference, omega is equal to omega 1 minus omega 2, unit is radians per second. Angular displacement difference, theta is equal to theta 1 minus theta 2 in radians. Okay, the units have been specified. Below it has been written for every variable. Okay, you can see there. Okay, then whatever are this mass and inertia, they are two kinds of springs and they are the energy storage elements where energy can be stored and retrieved without loss, and so these are called conservative elements. The energy stored in these elements is expressed as mass E is equal to half mv square, kinetic energy in joules, which is motional energy. Inertia is equal to half j omega square, kinetic energy, which is considered motional energy. The spring translatory is given by E is equal to half kx square, which is potential energy in joules, deformation energy. Spring torsional is equal to half k theta square, which is potential energy in joules, deformation energy. The damper is a dissipative element and power it consumes lost in form of heat is given as P is equal to Fv square in watts, which we can write it as F omega square in watts. Relationship are not expressed in momentum form. Okay, are not expressed in momentum form for the next elements which we are going to discuss. Okay, the relationship of mass can be integrated and expressed as integration f of dt with limits minus infinity to t is equal to m, integration from minus infinity to t dv by dt dt, or p is equal to mv if v of minus infinity equal to 0. So I'll stop here. In the next lecture I'll start with ideal elements for mechanical systems. I request you to go through this.